Third time's a charm.
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? We back in the house one more again. We are back one more again.
3 times again.
You ready to do this?
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Success in Black and White.
The podcast. We are back in the house one more again. We are back one more again.
Coming to you live.
From the house.
A little bit coffee.
Yeah. I still got like this little itch. Like I don't feel bad anymore. But my throat is sore and I still got like a little itch.
And we're both tired.
Very tired.
Because somebody was up ready to party last night. And it was not me.
I wish. But we were up until about 4 a.m.
With Devon.
With Vaughn. He decided he wanted to wake up and
He was ready to go.
hang out at like 2 in the morning. And
No. He was up at midnight. He was up from 12 p.m. to 4.
Yeah, well, I didn't get him until 2. You tried for like 2 hours and then I came to rescue you because you were huffing and puffing and slamming stuff. And
Yeah, I was mad at him.
I know you were mad. And I was like, let me go get my little dude. Yeah, so I hung out with him for a couple of hours and then I put him back down because it was time to go night-night for another like
4 a.m.
hour.
Yeah. Anyway. We still gonna bring the heat though.
We gonna
Bring in the fire
bring it
through
to
the
you.
coughs.
Yeah, I'd be glad when this. I said it last night. I feel like I'll never be healthy.
I don't know what's wrong with you.
Like never until the kids get out of that phase. Like Vaughn has, like he got ear infection now. Mm-hmm. He's had cruds. Seems like his whole life. Mm-hmm. And him and Anna just play back and forth. Mm-hmm. And then we just take turns. Mm-hmm. Like it's just ridiculous.
Agree.
But through it all, we gonna make it.
Yeah.
We gonna make it. Through it all, we gonna make it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Probably by being deliberate.
Definitely.
Exactly what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. The importance of being deliberate if you are trying to achieve results.
Yes. What kind of results are you trying to achieve?
Well, 1, getting healthy, and 2, leveling up our relationship, and 3, leveling up the business. So I feel like since we just got done talking about how much, time we spent with him in the morning and we're both tired, the time that we do have to do things, we have to be very deliberate with that time.
Agree.
In order to get the results that we want in our relationship, in our business, and with us personally. So,
Agree.
yeah.
Agree. Okay, well, let's talk about deliberation. I think let's start talking about it first in our relationship. Because, well, first, actually, I think we should back up and talk about our tendencies because they're very different. And I think that plays into how deliberate we tend to be and how we approach being intentional about things. You are very deliberate.
Very systematic.
Very systematic.
Very result driven.
Very process oriented.
Process oriented.
Yes, like all of those things are in your nature.
Yeah.
I'm very like free.
Yeah. I feel like if you were alive during Woodstock, you'd be like right in the middle of the party.
Yeah, I like to party.
Yeah. You're free spirited.
Yes, I am. I'm very like go with the flow.
Yes.
It takes me a lot to be very intentional, and it's something I actually still struggle with. I thought I was getting a lot better at it, but I still struggle with it, and I've found that out at work recently. So
yes,
but yeah, I'm very free flowing. I'm very like, this is such a throwback, old school, like True Colors. I don't know if people even know what this is anymore.
yeah.
But But if you know what true colors is, I'm an orange.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm actually an orange blue, but
Gold-ish.
I bet you're green.
Yeah, I got some green in there, yeah.
You're blue too.
Yeah, I got some blue in there.
Yeah. So anyway, orange is like the usually creative minds like jump out of a plane. Is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Like would jump out of a plane.
Definitely. I think it's so crazy though, that you are the way that you are because you're also result driven. Like,
yeah, I am.
Data, numbers, telling a story, results.
Yeah.
Based off the data.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. But you're like so like free flowing and freelancing.
So I like data. I'm a data analyst by day, which is very weird for somebody who
is so free flowing.
Is very free flowing, would rather like jump out of an airplane, you know.
Let's try it out and see where it goes. Come on. Anytime we're doing anything, she's like, well, I just do it. I got to see it. I'm like, I'm trying to be deliberate with my time.
Yeah.
With this process. Let me know your thoughts and let me put it together. Well, you know what I'm going to say. Just do it all and just let me see it all.
Yeah.
I'm just like, we ain't got time to be doing all of this.
No, that's true. And I think, I know that drives you crazy.
Yeah.
And you are so flexible and adaptable to me because you're just like, okay, I already know what you're going to say, so I'm just going to do it. So we can avoid the fight because, you know. And I realized this is also a little bit like my supervisor at work is very much like you and very process oriented and very deliberate.
Okay.
And I've realized that this is like cause for friction sometimes between us because she wants to see a plan for the data, which is totally understandable and makes so much sense to any normal person. And I'm looking at her like, blink, blink, blink. Like I'm a data analyst and I don't plan things.
Nope.
I just don't. Like my brain doesn't work that way. So the reason that I like it, because I'm sure you're like, why are you a data analyst if you're not at all process oriented or not at all like you're very free flowing? And it's not about analyzing the data, although that is actually important to me. And the more I do it, the more important it becomes, like to understand where the messages are coming from. But to me, the most important thing is telling the story.
I knew it. I was waiting for it.
Yep, it's telling the story and being able to creatively. The reason that I like it is because I feel like you have people who are data analysts who clean and code and look at stats and analyze. And then they come back and they deliver like this package of data. And a lot of people don't know what to do with it. Because they're like, great, I handed it to you and I have like say for instance, survey results. I have these results from the survey and all this data and you're giving me like this spreadsheet back and I don't even know how to read this, right?
Yeah.
And so to me, it's super important to not only share the results in a way that visually somebody can understand who has no concept of understanding data at a higher level, and then to also use storytelling to help people understand where the data came from, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. I think it takes both sides though.
Yeah,
because in order, you have to be deliberate to go through it and clean it and scrub it and do all of that stuff. But then on the back end, you get to be creative in producing or generating and telling and adding illustration to the story.
Yeah.
So I think you get both sides of it, but one side you kind of appreciate a lot more than the other side.
Yeah, very true. So that's a little bit about me. So that's my whole, like, I have to be very intentional and process oriented at work because it's not true to my nature. It can be draining a little bit for me. So I don't know how, I'm guessing this might be how it feels for you when, say, like, you want to see what the end result will be, and I'm like, just do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so I'm assuming it might be very draining for you.
And then you come right back and I have to end up changing it anyways.
I know.
So
because that's how I work. But I know that's not how you work best.
Yeah. But like you said, I try to adapt and be flexible because I do know you're like that. And I also kind of pre-plan and expect that and kind of leave some room for that as I'm being deliberate. Like I say, deliberately save room for that.
For the creative process.
Yep. So.
And I appreciate that because I do think it's important. And I don't know. I think it's hard to talk about, but I think it's important. Like we talked a little bit last week about self-assessment. And I think it's important before you even understand like how to be more deliberate, you have to understand what your tendency is, because if I tell you to be more deliberate, you'd be like, cool, I got this.
I'm like, where do I sign up at?
Yeah. Okay, easy. And if you tell me to be more deliberate, it kind of like puts this like crack into my whole world where I'm like, oh my gosh, then I start stressing because people expect me to be and do things that don't come naturally to me. So I have to practice them. So it's very interesting because we have some tips on how to do this, but it's okay if you're like me and these things are not natural to you.
Right. But at some point though, and while we're talking about it, if your main objective is to achieve results, your approach is going to have to be deliberate. Mm-hmm. Unless you have all the time in the world and there is no time constraints on the results that you're trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. Therefore, I don't even know, is that even a goal? Like, if it has no time constraints, is it a goal?
I don't know. I think it would be interesting to really explore like how people who are the more like creative side and just kind of use like their right brain or whatever.
Yeah.
And then people who are very methodical and like process oriented, it would be interesting to explore like how long it took them to get to the same task. Yeah. I'm sure there's studies out there. We didn't come bearing research this time.
No, not this time. We're just talking through it about being deliberate because we know that for us, that has been a focal point in our relationship and definitely in our business. And I think it started in our business and kind of overlapped into our relationship. And I think that
I disagree, but go ahead.
You disagree?
I think it started in our relationship, and then I think we still struggle with it in our business.
Let's talk about it. Well, yeah, I think we struggle with it in both areas.
Agree. I think we struggle with it all around.
But I think that, I guess you disagree, but I guess from your perspective,
yeah,
that kind of makes sense, though.
Well, I just think about in our relationship, like, if we're thinking about like talking about relationship and being deliberate there.
Yeah, let's start there. Come on.
You were always much more deliberate than I was.
Yeah. Because that, like we just said, that's kind of like a part of my personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I feel like a lot of men do this, just like the chivalry and like, it's kind of what's expected for you to do. But
I'm just playing.
Oh, I'm like, wait, what?
No, hey guys, I was just playing. It was a joke.
But I mean, I think about even how deliberate you were when like thinking about asking me to marry you.
Yeah.
Right.
I was very deliberate about that.
Right. Like you made sure that everything was in place and like you asked my parents and like you FaceTimed my parents to ask them and to like talk to them about it, which I still don't know how that conversation went, but I know that you did it.
Yep.
You wanted to make sure that there was a ring that I would like.
Yeah.
And
then you participated in the creation of it.
I did. And
because I asked you like
you did.
what you liked, what style you liked.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to just go get a generic ring. So
and you had it like
it was made custom made for
which
you.
Is awesome.
Definitely.
And then even to like how we got engaged, like you had everything planned to a T, and that didn't bother me, probably because you knew me so well at that point. You knew it wasn't going to bother me. I wasn't going to ask you all these questions because my personality is opposite yours. If I would have tried to do what you did, to you that you did for me, where like you took me somewhere for 5 days and like surprised me and like had this huge surprise dinner and like I never would have gotten away with it.
Nah, because I know you though, because you're so free flowing. I would have been like, oh my gosh, like we're going to end up driving around for 30 minutes because she hasn't planned out where we're going to park at to actually get to the place.
That's true. I don't do that.
Like, that's why I'm like, you're just free. Like, oh, we'll get there eventually. I'm like, what time are the reservations? They're at 7:30. I'm just like, okay.
It's 7:15.
Yeah, like, we got to park. We going to valet? What's up? Talk to me now.
But I think that's funny because then I just went along with it.
Yeah.
And you were just like, okay, pack your bags. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, where are we going? And you're like, you'll see. I'm like, okay. Literally like hopped in a car for 4.5 hours, had no idea where we were going. Didn't matter because I go with the flow.
So since we're talking about deliberate, I think that you have to be deliberate about learning your partner. I say start there. I mean, if we're talking about relationships, we're talking about being deliberate.
Yeah.
Be deliberate about that, learning your partner, because I mean, I knew that you would trust me, but you also knew that I was going to take care of you. Like, you didn't have to worry about that.
Right.
Whereas if the roles were reversed, no. I would have been like, no, you got to tell me something else.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we would have got there and you'd have been like, well, I thought you just would have packed some dress shoes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
And then I think as we had kids, even with the wedding.
Yeah.
The wedding, we were deliberate in the fact that we really wanted to save as much money as possible while still doing it our way.
Yeah, definitely.
And that meant that we both had to be flexible in things and like...
Very flexible.
Yeah. But also deliberate in how we planned it. Because we ended up going to it was a destination wedding.
Yeah.
And instead of paying the resort fees for a wedding, which cost like
oh man, it was
an extraordinary
ridiculous.
Amount of money,
thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
We did a lot of research and we figured out that we could just request like
event space,
and we could request catering and a cake, and your dad was going to marry us, so we didn't need an official.
Yeah,
and we could just request bottles of champagne and chairs. And it was like, I don't know, like $8,000 less than what we would have paid.
Because it was an event.
Because it was an event and not a wedding. So we just took the wedding package and we just requested everything in the wedding package that said it was an event. And we didn't call it a wedding.
Exactly.
Right.
And
so we were deliberate, but we were also flexible.
Oh, yeah. And our event planner, who ended up turning into our wedding coordinator, he was really awesome, though. He was just like, wait a minute.
And then when he was there and I walked out in a white dress.
Yeah, he was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Gotcha.
But we did it for a lot cheaper.
Oh, yeah. We saved about, like you said, almost $10,000.
Yeah. We did.
Now that right there is how you deliberately plan.
Yes. Our first child was not deliberately planned.
No. We were
surprised that
we were deliberate about one thing, and that was getting it on. And nothing else. Yeah.
But our second child was deliberately planned.
Yeah, definitely. We knew that we wanted that. And
we literally knew, like, we talked about what time of year do we want to be out on leave.
We were spot on. We missed it by like a couple of weeks though, because we didn't want the birthdays stacked like they are.
Oh, that's right.
Remember, we were trying
to not stack them.
We were trying not to stack it, but we were off by like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
But hey, we were deliberate.
It was
about
close.
That thing.
I think the most important for us now, I'm kind of regretting it because their birthdays are very close together. But the most important thing to us at the time was taking leave. Yeah. For both of us.
Also, like when you wanted to be pregnant too.
Yeah, I didn't really want to be pregnant in the summer.
In the summer, yeah, you said that.
Yeah, no, that was pretty intentional.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're deliberate then. I think as we like move through our relationship, we become more deliberate about things that we figure out have mattered. Like Oh man, it's still hard for us to get a date night.
Yeah, that's why I was like the business, because most of that is kind of ad-libbed, where we find time, we find a spot, and we deliberately take advantage of that.
Yeah.
But with the date night, we just can't like, oh,
It's
let's
hard.
go on a date and leave the kids in the house by themselves.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do that, but we're not doing that.
No.
So that's where I mean, like, that's why I said the business first. Like, we're very deliberate about what we do and how we do things.
That's true.
To continue to grow our business. So
but
that was the lens that I was looking at. All of that
to me was prefaced by our relationship. Because that came first. It came before the business. It's how we kind of figured each other out and how our tendencies and stuff. And now with our relationship, like, well, I guess it is more, but everything is so close for us. Business, relationship, family life. And so we're very deliberate about, like, planning our weeks. We're very deliberate about, like, calendaring, and, you know, those actually are some of our tips. But we are very deliberate about that now. But even so...
we have to, though.
We have to.
Because... and I think, like, on here, we're just kind of talking through tips. They're like kind of all mixed up in there everywhere. But
tip 1, calendar. Together.
Yeah, together.
Yeah.
But what that does is, like, it creates that high level of focus for us. We don't have time to not be focused. I mean, and that's what being deliberate, that's what being deliberate does. So when we talk about being deliberate in our relationship, being deliberate in our business, being deliberate with how we, engage with our kids and our family, like, we don't have time to not be focused, because we have a lot of different things going on.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. And I mean, time can get away from you so fast.
Yep.
So we are very deliberate, and it forces us to have that high level of focus on, like, all right, let's do this for the business. Let's be deliberate about this approach, about this result that we're trying to get. Let's hone in. Let's be focused.
Yeah.
The same thing with our relationship. All right. Hey, let's be deliberate about taking this time for us to spend time together, to just bond. And you know, let's be deliberate about it. Let's be deliberate about these 2 hours we have. And that's our approach with the kids. Let's be deliberate about the time that we're spending with our kids, knowing they have to go to bed at 7 o'clock. So at dinner, let's be deliberate about the questions that we ask them, the time that we spend with them, what we want them to take away from our family time together. So it definitely creates that high level of focus. And that's why it's important when you're talking about achieving results. Because everything that I said is result based, because we want to have the result of spending time with our family and our kids, understanding the importance of family time, dinner time, and that we want to know about them and their day, and you know, what they have going on, and that's important to us. And
it is important to us. And so, I mean, we use, and this is just another maybe tip, but we use as much time as possible in the smartest ways we know how to be deliberate about what we're doing. Like, so for example, I know that we're lucky that we work in the same organization. I think it's a little bit more of a challenge than it used to be, because we're literally like probably a mile away from each other now in different buildings. With not a great parking situation. So, but we still every day for lunch, most days, try to come together and just spend that time together, because that for us is, it's bonding time. Sometimes we talk about business, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we talk about, you know, what's happening at work. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just talk about, like, kids, whatever, but that's still bonding time. And then we use time for, like, I would consider we have to get creative with our resources, because we don't have family here to help us with kids.
Right. Zero family.
Right. So we discovered, like, with our church group, which to me I consider personal development, is we just use the time that they're still in, you know, their church kids groups, and we go to a small group after we actually go to church. And to
Right.
me, that's personal development time.
Definitely.
And time to bond with other people and to, talk to other couples and that kind of thing. And so we kind of use our resources where we can and be deliberate because, like you said, not only do we not really have the help here, we don't have any time.
Yeah.
And now Anna's in sports, and holy Mary, there goes the rest of our time
Yeah.
ever. So, I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yeah. And in order to be successful with everything that we're doing, we have to be deliberate.
Yeah.
And it's so important. And that's why we encourage it. And then there are some times where we can just kind of go with the flow. Not often, but there are some times where we can do that. But with our schedule and with the kids and lacking help here, with no family and then time, everyone can say time.
Yeah.
We have to be very deliberate about our approach on how we're going to tackle all the things.
And I think it's important to be deliberate, but still maintain the flexibility and adaptability.
Very important.
Because, I mean, we talk about often how it is important to be adaptable, and that just drives growth, especially like you're going to fail along the way. And by fail, I mean, we have stumbling blocks in our relationship. We've failed at things with our business, and you have to be flexible enough to pick yourself back up and just keep going. Like, how do we fix it? Like, if we have an argument, how do we fix it? If we, something happens in the business, how do we fix it? And then how do we keep going? And so I think it's important because sometimes, especially, I know moms who can get really caught up in like, well, the schedule's not going exactly as I planned it. And if it's not going exactly as I planned it, then everything is flying off the plate and I can't handle it. And so this is when people get a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress because their calendars are not going exactly like they thought they should or like they planned. And so I think it's important to be deliberate. But I also think it's important to maintain an amount of flexibility so that you don't lose your mind if all of your deliberate plans, go up in smoke sometimes because it's life and that happens.
I think by taking that approach, though, by being deliberate, you have like a mindset switch because everything that you're doing when you're deliberate about it, like it's purposeful. You know what I mean? So it's with a purpose. So if you do fail or something doesn't work out or you get off track, you still know what your purpose is because you're deliberate and it's easier to kind of bounce back.
Yeah.
I feel like that. So when you were saying that, I was like, yeah, of course it's easy to bounce back when you're deliberate about something because you're doing it with a purpose. You have a goal and, you're trying to get a certain result, whatever that is. So it's easy to bounce back when you're deliberate because you're focused. You have a purpose, you have goals. So if you fall off, you still have the purpose, you still have the goal. You just got to get back up, be deliberate about your next step.
I think it's so important that you say that because you're either living your life on purpose or you're letting your life drive you.
Yeah.
And if you let your life drive you, which would be easy for me to do because I'm just go with the flow usually, and like life can happen to me and I'm usually okay with it. But until I became more intentional and on purpose, I didn't realize that like living life on purpose has so much more meaning because you are striving for goals.
Right.
So I think it's really important that you said that. I'm glad you said that. So how, if people want to become more deliberate,
Right.
what is your best advice for them to become more deliberate?
I think one, which we always start off, is kind of just taking time to sit back and reflect and do an assessment or self-evaluation to kind of see where you are, to see if there are things that you have wanted to accomplish that you want to achieve, and just kind of go through those and see where you've kind of fallen off and see where you've maybe not been as successful or you have not accomplished as much as you wanted to. And look at the things that you did that got you to that point, or look at the things that you did not do that got you to that point, and take all of those into consideration as you're getting ready to plan out the the next step. And then whatever those next steps are, whatever those plans are, be deliberate about your approach and what you're going to do so that whatever you're trying to accomplish, whatever you're trying to achieve, you are more apt to be successful at those if you're taking a deliberate approach.
Yes, I agree. And I think this is funny because this is sometimes our roles get reversed, right?
Yeah.
No matter like what your personality trait is, and even with personality traits that we have and tendencies, our roles get reversed. So I'm just thinking about, because, I guess when we're tired, we're super, super transparent. But I'm just thinking about last night when we were talking about, okay, it's time to just evaluate where we are with a business. First of all, you should be doing that every so often anyway, because it's really important to do. You may be like on track with your goals and like driving forward and like I'm doing the thing, and you get so busy and caught up. You're like, I'm successful. Why should I reevaluate my goals?
Right.
Trust me. You always want to stay on top of it because you want to know where you're at and where you're continuing to go. And you may be headed in another direction and not even know it. And that might be a good thing or it might be a bad thing. But if you don't evaluate, you'll never know.
Yeah.
So anyway, where I was going was we were sitting here last night, like in the process of evaluating our business. And I just think it's so funny because the roles were reversed. Like I had come up with this worksheet packet of like, and I think it's a really good exercise to do. Like you look at your past, where have you been? So the reflection piece that you talked about.
Right.
We look at our present, where are we now? We look at our future, where do we want to be? Has anything changed from the last time that we talked about this? Then we do a SWOT analysis, and then we look at priority grid, and we look at...
Oh, God. I'm cheesing because I know where this is going.
And so I have this like very intentional... packet of,
and you're very deliberate about how you put it together, what you wanted us to accomplish from that. You were.
Yes, I did. And Daryl's like filled out the first like 2.5, and he's like, can we just talk about this? Like, I just need to brain dump this. And I looked at him like, no. But I was like, sure, go ahead. It's like 11 p.m. at night and I'm trying not to fall asleep on the couch. I'm like, sure, go ahead. So we're like brain dumping. But it was just so funny because it was a role reversal.
It was. I wanted to be creative and just free flowing and just brain dump.
And I was like,
and you were deliberate about what we were going to do at that time to reevaluate. Right. Oh my gosh.
Long story short, we're still in the thick of that process.
Because I haven't had a chance to brain dump.
And I haven't had a chance to go through the process.
We just literally swapped. Oh my goodness. Everybody's probably listening like,
I know, like,
okay, what are they laughing at? What's so funny?
This is what happens when you get 2.5 hours of sleep the night before you record.
But that's true though. We did have a role reversal, and you were like me. You were trying to be deliberate about our approach and our time. You created a sheet. I know. You broke it down, and then I was just like, "Oh, forget this sheet. Come on, let's just talk. Let's just brain dump. Let's just throw all the ideas out there."
I know, and I'm like, I can't do this at 10:30 at night.
You're like, no, we only got like an hour left of me being awake.
No, we didn't even have that.
No, we
had like 10 minutes.
You had 10 minutes. I was sitting there talking, and I'm looking at you, and I'm thinking you looking down at the paper.
No.
She deliberately looked down at the paper so I couldn't see her eyes close.
It's funny because it's true.
I know. She gonna look down at the paper and I'm like, dang, was she reading that sentence real aggressively? Her head hasn't come up. I'm like, but that must be a serious sentence right there. But she is definitely reading that.
Oh my goodness. It's too funny.
Man.
I would say though, no matter how you do it, I do think it's important to evaluate your business. I don't think you have to do it every day. I don't think you have to do it every week, but I think you should do it at least quarterly, probably more. Because your goals and your focus might change, and even the direction that your business is going might change. And you may not even like have the time to stop and think about how it's changing.
Yes.
Unless you take the time to reflect and to plan and to fill out these darn worksheets that I made.
I know. I'm going to do the worksheet. So let me see what else we have in our notes. Okay. Oh, yeah. I kind of alluded to that. Mm-hmm. Practice your daily habits and routines. So being aware of what your daily habits and routines are. I think that anytime you're being deliberate, your routines and your habits are definitely going to play a role into that. Mm-hmm. So definitely being aware of that and practicing your daily habits and routines and being deliberate about what they are and how you're adjusting those and what results you're getting from those. But that's right down my alley, though.
Your routine.
Yeah, I'm a routine, ritual, and habit type person.
And I think it's important to understand that even the most simple daily habits and routines, like that's practice for the big leagues, right? Like that's you're playing in the AAA league right now. When we talk about like, I don't know where I'm getting these analogies, but when we talk about like diet or fitness, even something as simple as like what you're eating on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And if you are intentional about what you put in your body, how you exercise, how you treat yourself, like just self-care even, seems simple, but that's practice for like, then how do you run your business? Because if you can be intentional about the small habits, then you can be intentional about the big habits.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why it's so important.
Very important. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know about the big leagues and
the big leagues and the AAA. I was just like, where is she going?
I don't know.
This? Okay. All right. Let me see what the next one is.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can do that one.
Oh, wait, I don't know which one you're...
I was just going to do the very next one. Write down your short-term and long-term goals, which is kind of what we were talking about, what we tried to do last night.
We talked about that.
We tried to do it last night, and she was deliberate about giving me the resources to be efficient with doing those. And I didn't want to do them because I wanted to just brain dump and freelance.
But here's why I think this is why I enjoy it so much, is because when I create those things, I'm creating. And so I get to create the thing that will lead us to success. So for instance, this should speak volumes with a lot of you, but if you have not downloaded our Goal Crushers Guide, you should, because that was a very intentional and deliberate creation that I still got to create, so I really enjoyed it, but it has very strong direction about how to set goals and achieve them. And that's why it was so important for me to be the one who created it and to put it out, because it made sense, but then it also gives you something to be deliberate in reaching goals, right?
Yeah. That makes perfect sense now. You just literally shined the light on it. I was not thinking about it like that.
You were like, why did you create this?
Yeah.
It's so process oriented, and you're not like that.
So, I mean, you were deliberate about why, and that's where that focus came from and went into it. That makes sense. I that totally just like right over my head. I didn't even think about it.
And now you know.
And now I know. I see you, boo boo. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it is also part of me just learning how to be deliberate as a data analyst, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think that this last one that we have really goes in line with making. No, I don't know. You're touching me.
I just wanted to touch your leg, baby.
That's usually your signal for...
I know, but I saw them legs down there and I just wanted to...
Oh, that's so nice. He's so romantic.
I'm deliberately touching her leg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really thought it was to shut me up, because that's usually the signal. Oh, okay. No. Anyway, so I think the last one is really in line with like some rituals, but I think is important because what we said was, in order to be successful, I see what you were doing. Okay, so anyway, in order to be successful, so for instance, in order to
They probably like, hold up, baby. Don't forget where you're going. They probably like, what in the world? What? Oh, I see what you were doing.
Oh, so we should explain.
Okay, I'm sure.
Okay. So you may have to cut this out of the audio in the podcast because they're not going to get it.
Okay,
but on YouTube, we'll explain that the reason you could have just told me this. So the reason he reached over and touched my knee was usually the signal for like, okay, like stop talking, or you need, like, we're running out of time, which is true. We are actually running out of time.
Coming up on time, but yeah.
But the reason he did it this time is because my phone is doing this really weird thing where it's cutting video at like 38 minutes and 43 seconds.
38 minutes, 49 seconds.
Oh, 49 seconds.
Yeah.
So every time we record, it cuts video there. And so if you guys are like avid YouTube watchers, you've probably noticed that right around like the 38-minute mark, there's kind of a
transition or something that happens.
and this is why. So
yeah, I saw it coming up.
You did,
and I was deliberately touching
because you can cut it out of the audio, and then the YouTube people just get everything that we do.
I know. So, I was deliberately touching your leg, hoping that you would have it would have startled you, and you would have paused.
I did
long enough for it to skip over.
Oh.
But I touched your leg too early. I was a little too early.
Ooh, that was smart though.
But that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get you to be like, because if you would have paused, then it would have transitioned went smoothly. But
the YouTube people just get everything.
They get it all.
You get all the
secrets. It raw. That's why we made it. Y'all are getting the business right here.
Because we're cutting all this out of the audio.
Oh yeah, the audio people just want to listen real quick, 40 minutes, boom, boom, keep it moving. Boom. But y'all get to watch and see what's going on. And that's why we do it like that. So that y'all can see, we ain't got it all together, but we here.
But we're here.
All right, come on.
Especially today.
Come on, bring it back.
Okay, so the last one for me was about making concerted efforts for things that will make you successful. And I think this does fall in line with the establishing habits and rituals, like daily habits and rituals. But I think more so along the lines of this is very intentional efforts for things like in your relationship. So yes, there can be concerted effort on a daily basis. Like I want him to know that I love him. If you're listening on audio, I'm, like have my hand on Daryl's shoulder. I want him to know that I love him and that I'm going to do things for him and that, I'm going to build him up on a daily basis. But also on a not daily basis, we want to intentionally plan date nights. They don't happen all the time, but they're still important to us. So, and then say like at work or in your business or whatever it is you do in career, it's important to think about how to maybe get more training or more personal development, or like how do you intentionally start thinking about what are the small steps I can take to be successful where I'm at, or if your goal is to get to the next level, then how do you make those steps and take those steps to get to the next level? Right.
I think the most important part is at some point when you want to get to the next level, or you want to level up, or you want to get results, you have to be deliberate about your approach.
Agree.
And that was one of the main reasons why we want to do this, to just kind of talk through about how we've been deliberate, and then at times where we weren't deliberate and where we weren't as successful, or we kind of fell off.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to level up, you're trying to get to that next step, you're trying to do better in your relationship, elevate your business, elevate yourself personally. To get those results, you definitely want to make sure that you take time to plan it out and be deliberate about your plan and how you attack it. And that is shown in your rituals and your habits. That's shown in how you carry out. And that definitely is important.
And I don't think, just to reiterate, I don't think it has to change who you are. If you're a free-flowing type of person, more like me, it's still important, like Daryl said, to have that goal and to plan for it, but you can still be flexible and you can still live your life the way that you need to and be free-flowing, and just know that you can still drive your life and not let the circumstances of your life drive you.
Yeah. So I think that was perfect. Anything else you want to add?
No.
All right.
Until next time.
We out.
We out.
Peace.